This is Niall O'Keefe and we are outside the beautiful 3 Arena here in Dublin, Ireland. We're about to go in to watch Bellator and BAMMA, but before we do, we want to find out who the Irish public want Conor McGregor to fight next. So let's check out what Dublin has to say. So lads, the big question is, who do you two want to see Conor McGregor fight next?
I think Nate Diaz should fight him for the 3rd time.
I'd say Nate Diaz as well, yeah.
And if I push it to it, who wins the fight, Conor or Nate?
Conor McGregor by decision.
Say Conor. I'd say Conor as well, yeah.
Boy.
Kick. Probably.
So knockout, Conor McGregor, knockout, they are. 2 votes, Nate Diaz next for Conor McGregor.
What's a knockout?
So here we are outside the 3 Arena with the best chips you can get in Dublin. Lads, who just want to see Conor McGregor fight next and why?
Conor McFadden. Why? 10 million for a knockout. What's the problem?
Conor, you're all going to die, you're going to go down the line. Forget Nate Diaz, forget Floyd Mayweather. It's to fight you.
To fight me? Yeah. I'm willing to lay down for 10 million.
Who? Conor's going to fight next and who wins? There you are, Conor. 10 million. Best chips and a bag of chips, salt and vinegar.
Chips. There you are, right.
It's a gravy train, people.
Eddie Lynch. He's going to fight Tony Ferguson and he's going to win by knockout.
Oh, Jack Darbin. We're both Donegal, so we are. He's going to fight Ferguson and he's going to beat him in the 1st round by knockout.
What do you think of Joe Duffy the weekend?
I'm fucking disappointed. He had him in the bag, but your man's 6'3".
What do you think about the stoppage?
Oh, it's
Bullshit.
stupid. Hey, 1 second left in the round. He was just pulling guard when the ref stopped it too. It was stupid. Like.
No, the ref should have left it for at least a few more seconds. At least, because he was defending himself knowledgeably, like, so, you know, exactly.
Right, McGregor, who's fighting next and who wins?
Tony Ferguson and McGregor wins by KO.
Yeah.
Ferguson.
Who wins?
McGregor.
Boy.
1st round knockout.
1st round knockout.
1st round knockout.
Would that be a boy's opinion or?
No.
Ferguson and McGregor, boy, 2nd round TKO.
Ferguson?
Yeah, I'm the same, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of obviously fight talk lads. And it's got to be Tony Ferguson. I'm tired of it now. It has to be Tony Ferguson.
Defend the belt.
Absolutely.
The one critique against him, isn't it?
It's the one thing I'm sick of on Twitter all the time. I'm following you all the time. And every time I'm on there, people are saying to me he doesn't defend his belt. So he's got to do it this time, guys. He's got to.
Tony Ferguson. And by submission, Tony Ferguson, I've got to go for it.
Ooh. Irish podcast! Come on!
Nate Diaz by decision.
And Nate Diaz to win?
Yeah.
He's going to fight Tony. He's going to knock him out in the 2nd round.
Nice.
Same, I'd say.
2nd round as well?
Yeah, knockout.
Nice.
Tony Ferguson, I'm going to bet. Tony gets hit a lot. I'm going to say Conor stops him in the 1st round, most likely.
A very familiar face in Irish MMA. We're joined by Niall McGrath. So Niall, who do you want Conor McGregor to fight next? Why and who wins?
I don't think it's what I want now. I think it's what, you know, the big boys want in the UFC, the brass, whether the money's right. You know, I'd like to see Tony Ferguson because it obviously validifies the division. I think Conor needs to defend the title against the interim champion. But I'm not so sure. You know, a lot of people are talking about the Diaz fight. Obviously, part 3 would sell huge because, let's be honest, Conor's made Nate a star. But, you know, I'd like to see go back to Tony again because, you know, Conor has that ability to make other stars. And I think the UFC need that at the moment. Yeah. So I'd love to see Tony, but throw GSP in there now as well.
For me, it has to be Diaz trilogy. I'm just a massive Diaz fan. I'm a massive Conor fan. Like Nick, Nate and Conor, my 3 favourite fighters of all time. I've named my dog after the Diaz brothers. He's Diaz. So it's just what I want to see. I'm hoping to be in Croke Park, but probably never happen. But
who wins?
Never know. I have to say Conor. If it's at 155, I'm picking Conor. 170, Nate Diaz all day.
You're Sean Shelby. Who are you making?
Tony Ferguson. I think you have to do it. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it'd sell better than a lot of people think because, you know, Tony, for me, has been a guy who can talk the talk for a long, long time, and he's walked the walk as well. So I think it's a fascinating matchup. I think if I'm looking at a potential fight, I think that has to be the one, and the division as well needs to be sorted out. Conor hasn't defended the title as well, between his obviously lightweight, featherweight reigns. So Tony Ferguson for me.
I do Tony Ferguson or Diaz, and McGregor wins every time.
Wins every time?
Yeah, every
by
time.
decision?
No, I'd say he'll finish Diaz this time if it's at 155.
And Ferguson?
And Ferguson, he'll finish Ferguson.
Ferguson, definitely. He's the interim champ. I'd say 3rd round, Tony leaves the chin too high. McGregor will clock him.
Yeah, I want to fight Tony Ferguson and McGregor by KO.
I think it has to be Tony Ferguson. You know, like the Nate Diaz fight it's lost a lot of its appeal for a lot of people because of how Nate has handled the whole thing. Oh dear, we're getting in somebody's way.
Tommy will ask you as well.
So keep going. Yeah, it's it's gotten it's one of those fights that Nate hasn't handled himself post loss particularly well. He hasn't fought again. And I don't think it's a fight a lot of people... It's one I don't think it would make as much money as people think it would. Conor's gone and fought Floyd. He's had the big money fight. Now he needs a legacy fight with Tony. And it's going to be a real challenge for him. But, Tony presented himself in a way against Kevin Lee that maybe we could see Conor landing one of those famous knockouts, one of those famous left hooks. So I would say that Conor would probably win that fight as well.
Jude, you might have guessed coming in here. The question is, who do you want Conor McGregor to fight next?
Who do I want Conor McGregor to fight next?
And why?
My God, at this stage.
Matt, who do you want Conor McGregor to fight next and who wins?
Right. Jones the Aldo rematch and Conor to knock him out again, obviously.
14 seconds or longer?
I want the fight to go all the way.
There you go.
Decision.
McGregor win.
McGregor win.
Aldo McGregor next. You heard it here first from the man on the rope. Jiu-jitsu or MMA, Bill?
I don't know. What's it like? Jiu-jitsu and Polaris. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like no. It's who should Conor fight next? That's a bit of an interesting one though, because from a promotional point of view, it depends on basically what's going to bring the numbers and stuff like that. But from a purist MMA view, it's like should he defend his lightweight title and stuff like that. So. At the end of the day, man, it's going to come down to the numbers. It's going to come down to how many people are going to view, how many eyeballs are going to be looking at what he's got to do next. He's in a very good position in that he can actually kind of almost dictate what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, it's there is a process and stuff like that with regards to guys that are fighting for the title coming up. You know what I mean? Be good to see him. It could be good to see him defend his title. That'd be good.
For me, it has to be Ferguson. He's going to have to unify the belts. I think Conor will take him out within 2 rounds.
So new blood versus Conor's good. And just give him something different to work. A different opponent, a different type of style and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, because that's the one thing that actually made the Mayweather fight interesting. It wasn't the fact that
styles make fights.
Yeah, it's what the hell is Conor gonna come with and stuff like that, and how is
Buddy Johnson, BAMMA MC replacing matchmaker. Look at the camera. Who would you like Conor McGregor to fight next? Who wins? And
I am not getting into that battle.
You said Goddard. Well, who do you want to say next?
I think you should take on Goddard, right? He started on Goddard, so.
Jiu-jitsu or MMA?
Say again?
Jiu-jitsu or MMA?
Either or. I think it's going to be a great fight, right?
You're a handsome bastard.
It's a great question. For me, the most promotable fight, the fight I would do if I were sort of the UFC top brass, and can I even say McGregor Promotions? Can I say that?
Yeah. There's Jude Samuel.
There's Jude Samuel, our matchmaker. I think the Nate Diaz fight, right? Before people forget about the hype, before people forget about that storyline that made it such an epic kind of first 2 runs, it's a great fight. It's maybe not like the most MMA math, noteworthy fight if you were kind of trying to fit in the best matchups, the highest ranked guys. Conor's a great martial artist, but he's also a martial artist who's approached things kind of from a promotional standpoint. I think it's a great fight.
Who wins?
I think Conor would probably edge it out, but Nate, he's been inactive before and has come back and won. I think Conor probably takes a decision again, but Nate can always catch him. So
the logical choice is the Ferguson fight. That's the logical choice, but let's not be logical. If you're thinking money fights, big fights that sort of change the sport, GSP.
Ooh.
Nate Diaz and Conor wins.
There's not too many saying Nate, actually. We're surprised. It's primarily Ferguson to do the title. So Nate Diaz, why Nate?
Nate has always been one of my favourite fighters, and I just enjoyed the first 2. I think that it's set up. It's just like the trilogy,
Okay, will it happen? I don't know. GSP's rocking 185 pretty well. Can he come back down to 170? I don't know. He's putting a lot of muscle. I think it'd be a tricky weight cut at this point, and Conor really is max 170.
He's weighing twice 160.
Yeah, he shouldn't even really be up there. But if you want a fight that's gonna sell, and I think that's a fight that evolves the sport. We saw the reaction to GSP when he came back. A lot of hype. And the fact he won in that manner means that hype train is going to continue.
Joined by Sheehan of SevereMMA. Sean, the question is though, who do you want to see Conor McGregor fight next? Who wins and why?
Well, I want to see him fight Tony Ferguson, but he's going to fight George St. Pierre. We all know that. It's the biggest money fight in the UFC. It's the biggest money fight probably in all of combat sports. And at the end of the day, that's what the UFC want. That's what Conor McGregor wants. That's probably what GSP wants. That's probably why he came back. You know, GSP turned up at his second fight with Nate Diaz because he thought he was going to, or his first fight with Nate Diaz, sorry, because he thought he was going to win, and he thought that was going to be his next fight. He's the champion at 185. I wouldn't even be surprised if McGregor went up to 185 and fought him. He's a mad bastard. We all know he's mad, and he could do it. So I want to see the Tony Ferguson fight because for MMA, that's the best fight. That's the best man versus man fight. If he fought GSP, I think GSP would just be a little bit too big. He's bad style matchup for him.
GSP wins?
GSP more than likely wins, but if he fought Ferguson, I think he knocks Ferguson out. Ferguson's just too open, takes too many shots. McGregor hits too hard, and I think he beats him in that, all right.
Jim, who is Conor McGregor going to fight next? In your opinion, who do you want to see him fight next, and who wins?
Well, two very different questions there. Who is he going to fight next, and who do I want to see him fight next? Who do I want to see him fight next? Tony Ferguson. I think that's the name on everyone's lips. Everyone wants to see him unify the UFC lightweight title. If anything, just to bring some credibility back to what we're witnessing on the screen. That 155 pounds division, it feels like it's come to a bottleneck. That bottleneck is Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. That is the fight I want to see. What do I think we're going to see? I think this is where it all changes. I think we're going to see him fight George St. Pierre. Yeah.
George said he was injured on MMA Euro as well.
He did, but I honestly think that that's the money fight on the table here. We're working in a time where the UFC are desperate to make money. They're leveraging a lot of debt, having been bought out. And that is the money fight right now. And that's what Conor McGregor works with. He works with every single time Conor fights, he wants to do something bigger, something better than he's done before. Tony Ferguson unifying the belt might happen. But if we ask right here, right now, what is the biggest fight on the table for Conor McGregor? It's George St. Pierre.